this works. I have no idea if this is working or not. This is the first live stream I've done on this channel. So there's a high chance it's not working. But if it's working, we'll get a message. We'll get some messages in the chat. I'll check anyway to see if it is. But yeah. Someone says, when is this starting? It's not the best sign, given that it should have started by now. Let's go on here. Content, live now, live viewers. Are we live? Amir says hi. I don't know if that means we're live or not. We're live. Apparently we're live. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. As you can tell, seasoned veteran at this. Goodness me. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Today I'm joined by Bakar to answer your last minute deadline dilemmas. That's what we're going to be doing, right? But Bakar, I want to start off by asking you about your team and how it's going. Are you locked in? Like, what are you thinking? Oh, okay. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Apparently we can't hear you. I will try and change that. Give me a second. Let's do this instead. And this should be working now. Try again. Sorry, my friend.
Does this work now?
I hope it does. I really hope it does. Is it sorted? Guys, this is the first time I've done this with another person. All right, it should be good now. Should be good. It should be good.
Should be good.
You know what's great?
I can also do this. So
we've got a lot of tricks up our sleeve, guys. A bit louder. People want them a bit louder. All right, let's start again. Bakar, what's going on with your team? Tell the people.
Yes, what I was saying was that I'm still wavering on a few of my selections. I'm far from locked in. I'll spend the next couple of hours deciding which way to go. There are 3 selections which I'm not sure about, and as soon as I decide, I'll be updating my team reveal article. And it's not been ideal, actually, because I was fairly set on my team before the Game Week 1 deadline. Then Bob got injured. Then there's uncertainty on Eze. Estupinan is back in training, which isn't great for Barco. Brighton have signed a new striker. I had João Pedro in my draft for quite a while. Then I got Armstrong in, and now Southampton have signed Archer. So I'm sort of going around in circles, and this has literally turned into a bit of a sick joke. And I finally settle into a team, and then I get reminded that FPL is well and truly back, and this is what I have to sort of play with, and I need to be flexible with my plans. And I'm hoping I can eventually come up with a team that would sort of serve me well for the opening few weeks.
I want to see your team now. Can we just build what you have right now, just quickly on the My Team tool, and just see what it's looking like? So say deadline was in 5 minutes. Let's just go through it.
Yeah, so I've had Flecken.
Yeah.
Flecken.
Yeah, actually, how different is this team to the one that you showed me on the last video we did?
It's not different at all. It's very similar. It's the same team, actually, except that I have Armstrong for Pedro. It's the exact same thing.
Oh, okay. Let's just run through it quickly. So go from the back to the front. Let's just see.
Yeah, Flecken's backup are the keepers.
Yeah.
And then I have Trent, Porro, Konsa, both the Konsas.
Okay.
Then I have a Dunk. Then
Can you explain the Dunk pick?
Sorry, Barco. I have Barco.
Oh, okay.
I have Barco. Sorry,
okay.
I have Barco. Yeah, I have Barco. Sorry, and then I have Saka, Bruno, Eze, and Nkunku, Winks, Haaland, Isak, Armstrong.
Okay. And what are the positions that you're wavering on as it stands?
I'm wavering on the forward, the third forward, because I was fairly set, and I've made peace with starting Armstrong week in, week out for the opening 3 weeks. But I'm not sure now if Archer is signing, then his expected minutes may go down. I mean, I still think he's a fine pick, but he might not be the 90-minute man I was expecting him to be. Uh, which sort of brings Pedro again back into the argument because Pedro will start the season. I mean, I think Armstrong's minutes will be slightly stronger, but then Brighton is a better team than Southampton. So that's what is now playing in my head, and I'm not really sure which way to go. I could potentially even upgrade the slot to Mooney's, um, and that is something that I am considering.
Well, you have the money for
So
it,
it's
don't you?
basically between. Yeah, I do. I do. I do. I was actually initially I had planned to go Barker to dunk because of the Stupinan news, but now I'm not as sure, and I'm still
Yeah.
thinking about it. Right?
Well, Nix
And
is
then I'm
saying in
not.
the chat, you've got 0.5. Go. Why not go Muniz Wood? But yeah.
I don't like Wood as an option personally. I think Muniz is better for the first five.
Okay.
He's more secure at least. Forrest could easily sign a striker. There's Avani as well. So if I'm picking a 6 million forward, it will definitely be Muniz. It won't be Wood. But yeah, that's basically my conundrum. And in goal as well, actually, I'm actually sort of contemplating switching Flecken to Henderson. I was fairly set on Flecken, but I spent quite a lot of hours last night sort of looking into my team in depth and sort of possibly looking at a realistic time of a wild card. And I think looking at how my team is sort of set up, there's a good chance that I may be wild carding by game week 6, in which case a lot of my picks, I mean, not of my, but like a lot of these popular picks, for example, Porro, uh, Kwanzaa, Eze, maybe Bruno even, Muniz, Armstrong, Pedro, all these guys, they may not be as viable as they are at the minute. And I think there will be the fixture swings are there. So for starters, Arsenal have 2 home games against Southampton and Leicester in game week 6 and 7. I won't have any Arsenal at that point because I think I may be selling Saka for Salah in game week 4 through an
Yeah.
Isak downgrade. That's what I'm planning. That's what I'm planning. So at that point, I may be wildcarding to sort of to get triple Arsenal in which case I'm thinking maybe it's better to start with Henderson because his opening 5 are better than Flecken's. I still think Flecken is a better goalkeeper over the long run, but if I'm looking at just the first 5, then I favor Henderson. So that's
Yeah.
sort of playing at the back of my mind as well. So I mean, these are not exactly issues I should be thinking at this point. These should
It's
be
quite late in the day. It's
that.
quite late in the day for all this up in the air. But
Exactly.
there we go.
And I am looking, looking at how recent events have turned out. I won't be surprised if we get a leak for 1 hour before the deadline that City have opened discussions with us, and everything will go out.
Well, we got a pretty
I'm at
major
that
leak at
point.
the start of
I'm
last year,
mentally,
so
I'm mentally prepared for all kinds of chaos. So I mean, who knows?
okay.
But yeah,
So that's
this
the
is where
team.
I'm at. These are the conundrums I'm considering, and I'm sure it's kind of similar to what a lot of people are going through as well. I've not really considered Solanke as such because I like having the flexibility of having, let's say, the extra cash in the bank. Another thing that I have contemplated, and I'm still contemplating to a certain degree, is to potentially sacrifice Trent for Gabriel to give me more depth in the squad.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll go ahead with it because I think Trent will outscore Gabriel over the first 5 weeks. But it is something I can do because it could give me, let's say, a Smith Rowe over Winks or a Minte over Winks, right? So it's something which I am playing around with.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of decisions. We do have a super chat though. Thank you very much, Abby, for the question. Guys, we're going to get to a lot of your questions in just a second. But if you definitely 100% want your question to be asked, then you don't have to. Obviously, it's up to you. But yeah, if you've got a very pressing question that you need to be asked, if you want to, you can send a super chat. Abby asks, Nkunku or Rodgers start 1? First of all.
Nkunku for me.
Yeah, me too.
I think it has, because of the news of no Rodri, right? I think Chelsea will score, in which case he could be involved. And I think this West Ham fixture is kind of a banana skin for Villa.
Yeah, it's not an easy
fixture. I don't think
fixture.
Villa will score too many. It's definitely not easy. It gives me the kind of feeling that West Ham may sneak a low-scoring win, or it may be a low-scoring draw.
Yeah, I have 1-1 there. Genuinely, yeah. I would start on Nkunku even if Rodri was fit. To be fair, I expect us to score at least a couple goals. To be honest, I think we're going to batter them. And then Abias, upgrade Munoz to Porro or Solanke to Havertz, or bank the 0.5 mil. I think I know what I would do there, To be honest, I think Porro is better than Munoz if you can rotate after during or through Porro's tough games. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I think Porro is on another level as compared to Munoz. He was top for XGI last season among defenders. I think he has the explosive potential personally. Munoz is fine, but I mean, I'm not a huge fan of him. I think a lot of people are sort of having unreasonable expectations of him. He's definitely not in the league of Porro when it comes to attacking threat.
Let's do a little comparison here on Fantasy Football Hub's player comparison and just see the difference between Porro and Munoz. This is per start last season. It's actually it's not a crazy difference, but Porro's expected assists are way higher. So XG is pretty similar, but yeah, Porro's expected assists way higher than Munoz's, but expected points are very similar. Maybe there's more in that. And maybe it's closer than it seems. Their heat maps are almost identical as well, to be fair. But yeah, Porro is ahead on predicted points.
Yeah, you can argue the Crystal Palace have a better defense than Spurs, which is
exactly
a fair argument to make. Yeah, right. That's the thing.
That is the thing. Guys, worth mentioning as well, you've only got, what is it now? Under 4 hours until deadline. If you still are not signed up to Fantasy Football Hub and you don't know what any of this is, look at how good this is. Look at the detail. If you're not sure between Porro and Munoz, you can come in here, see all these amazing stats. It's just phenomenal. And it's 50% off right now before the deadline. And if you don't win your mini league, you'll get all your money refunded to you. That is how confident we are that you will if you invest in Fantasy Football Hub. The link is pinned in the live chat, and it should also be in the description as well, I hope. Anyway, let's get through some more questions now. Let's go. So any question you've got, guys, get them in the chat and we'll get to them. All right. Porro or Gvardiol or Gabriel, says Rex Edits.
Yeah, this is a very good question. I think if I was to rank them, I think Porro and Gabriel are kind of similar. I think Gabriel is probably better, actually. I would have Gabriel first, Porro second, Gvardiol third to begin with. I think City will concede a few goals at the start of the season because there's no Rodri. I don't think Gvardiol, I don't expect him to be as attacking as he was last season either. Well, you know what you're getting with Arsenal. They're still the best defense in the league. I don't have any of the Arsenal defense in my team, and that sort of worries me. I mean, I guess I'm just playing the fixtures there, but yeah, ideally I'd want a piece of one of them.
Oh, okay, yeah, tough one. By the way, over 1,000 people watching. Thanks for joining, guys. It's very much appreciated. Drop a like on the stream if you're enjoying it.
Thank you very much.
Another super chat from Ali who says, if we get no further Eze news, would you recommend I upgrade Eze to Jota? I have Bruno, Saka, Gibbs-White, and Emil Smith-Rowe as my other midfield options. Just maybe a wider point on Eze. What are we doing here? What news are we likely to get, to be fair, in the next 3 hours that says, yes, he's definitely going to sign for City, or he's not going to play against Brentford, you know?
It's actually very tricky because when you look at the latest odds, 52% of the odds are suggesting that he's going to stay, and 48% of them are suggesting that he might leave. So it's clearly a toss-up. Unless we hear any concrete info, I'm still likely to go with Eze. I've had him in each one of my drafts in preseason, and if he starts well, I just think he's the standout pick at his price. That's the thing. So effectively, you're betting that he's gonna leave the club if you're going without him, because the fixtures are all right for Crystal Palace, and you'd expect them to score in each of the 5 games, and Eze should be involved. So yeah, that's the thing. That's the risk you run. But I think Eze is probably fine to have for now.
If you look at the fixtures I've done this in a lot of videos, but yeah, just looking at the fixtures, the first 5, this is sorted by the easiest overall fixtures from Gameweek 1 to 5. Palace are third. It's tough to bet against their talisman, isn't it? So yeah, as you say, I think I agree with you. You have to if you get no news, you have to think that you are betting that he is going to leave, or at least will be disturbed, in some sort of regard. I'm surprised that there hasn't been a rumor yet about City being linked with another player at the very least, just because they do need another. Surely they need another forward or an attacker, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, and that's the concerning part, right? Because you'd expect that if City are in the market for someone, they'd probably go with them, and we haven't really heard any concrete links as such as of now. So again, we're firing shots in the dark, right?
Yeah.
It's very difficult for us to sort of come up with a concrete answer until we hear any concrete information. So that's the thing. That's the thing. But hypothetically, okay, let's discuss if we hear this kind of news before the deadline, that as City are in talks, or if any journalist reports such a thing, what would your plan B be? Because I think
Well, would you go up to
that case,
Jota? That's the question. If you had the 0.5.
Yeah, I mean, there are three plans in my head. I could either go to Jota, I could either go to someone like an Odegaard, or either I could downgrade to Smith Rowe or Minte from Brighton and spend the rest of the cash to get Solanke, right, from my team.
Yeah, okay.
I think that would be fine as well, right? So these are the plans that I have. Let's say if we hear anything on Eze, but for now, I think I'm going to stick.
Next question from Jonathan. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Purely for Game Week 1. This is actually this is a similar sort of debate that I have, and it's two players that are in your team right now, actually. So it's he asks Gordon and Rashford, or Bruno and Nkunku.
I've been really high on Bruno since the game launched. So I mean, I'd still go with Bruno and Nkunku.
I just don't like the Rashford pick, but I am currently going with.
I don't hate it. I think he.
I don't like it. I'll be honest.
He's a good. I think he's a good differential. I will never do it. I mean, knowing my playstyle, I will never do it. But I won't put anyone off.
Yeah.
Him. Honestly, he's an all right pick.
I'm currently on. I've been debating this as well. It's Bruno and Nkunku for me, or Gordon and Jota, and I'm currently on Gordon and Jota. What do you think about that? Same price for the both of them combined.
I know you've been a huge fan of Gordon. So Bruno and Nkunku is obviously better for minutes, right?
Yeah.
It gives you it. I mean, there are two things. It gives you the security of minutes, and it gives you, let's say, less headaches in the weeks to come. While with Gordon and Jota, especially with Jota, you're not sure when he might end up losing the spot, especially once the Champions League kicks in. And Arnislaw did say that everyone's fit. You never know if Jota gets taken off around the 65-70 minute mark and starts being a problem soon. That's the issue there. So obviously, if you're like myself, because I've basically mentioned that I'm looking to save as many transfers and then potentially look at a Saka to Salah move in Game Week 4 through an Isak downgrade. I'm looking to save over the next 2 weeks. So I don't want any headaches. If I pick Jota, it may lead to a headache, which is why I'm not a huge fan of picking him in my current team. But that does not necessarily mean that my risk appetite is the same as yours. Yours could be different. And I know you're a more maverick manager than I am. So it's fine.
Maybe about 1 or 2%. I think we are quite similar, to be fair. But yeah, you're right. I do love Gordon.
You like taking slightly more. Yeah, I mean, you like taking slightly more risks
than I do. But yeah. Okay. Next question. We've got quite a few super chats coming in. Thank you very much, guys. Tom asks, would you go Winks to Jacob Murphy and a 4.5 million striker? Okay, so I guess he might have been on like a João Pedro in that third striker slot, and now is moving down.
No, I'm not a huge fan of Jacob Murphy. Actually, I would rather still go with let's say an Armstrong or a Pedro or Munoz if you can get there, because I'm not convinced about Jacob Murphy's minutes long term. And secondly, you're getting a 4 million forward who's never going to play. At least with Winks, he can come on as a sub if needed.
Yeah, that's fair. Path
structure-wise, right?
Yeah, it makes more sense in terms of structure. Son and Nkunku or Palmer and Solanke? That's quite a good question, actually.
And that's very good. It's a very different question. I haven't heard this one.
No.
Son and Nkunku or Palmer and
Solanke.
Can you sort of repeat the question? Son and Nkunku. Okay, it's a different formation then, because in one he has a forward, right?
Yeah, good point. True.
Yeah,
I guess that comes down to structure again then, yeah, slightly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It will definitely come down to structure because there's not much to split the points between them.
Yeah. So Palmer and Solanke is probably safer for structure. There's not really a 4.5, is there? Winks is just the best 4.5 compared to any other 4.5 striker, right?
So. I would think so, because if he's going with two heavy mids, I would assume that he has a 4.5 million forward. It's a very similar sort of discussion to what we were discussing in the previous question.
Yeah. Ali asks, can you guys rank Arsenal's defensive options? That's a nice
Gabriel
question.
Saliba,
so you've changed your tune, because earlier in pre-season you were Saliba ahead of Gabriel.
Yeah, because I assumed the Califury would get some minutes in
Okay.
preseason, and I assumed the Timber would get some minutes, but they haven't, right? Califury's barely played, so I think Gabriel should be fine for the opening few fixtures. In
Yeah.
which case, you just pick Gabriel over Saliba. If I was picking one, I would pick Gabriel. If someone wants to play the long waiting game and does not want a wild card, let's say in game week 4, 6, or whatever, and wants a wild card later in the season, then I think Saliba is perfectly fine. I think the earliest that realistically Saliba will start getting rotated is around. Sorry, Gabriel will start rotated is around game week 6 and 7 at best, and that's the earliest. I'm saying worst case scenario. So yeah, I think he's fine for the opening 5-6 weeks.
What about Ben White? Is there a little bit of you that's saying, if you've
No.
got the spare? He did. You have to
No.
remember, he did so well at the back end of last season. He was just destroying the other Arsenal defenders.
I think this would be more of a debate if both of them were the same price. I don't think
Okay.
it's a debate when the centre backs are 0.5 million cheaper, because they have so much threat from set plays. They were the first for XG from set plays last season, and they scored the highest number of goals as well from set pieces. So yeah, it's a fairly obvious one for me.
Next question from Mario. He asks: Solanke, Porro, 5.5 mid, or Munoz, Gabriel, and Nkunku?
Yeah, I would go with the latter. I think it offers better balance. It's similar to what I have in my team.
Yeah.
Because it gives you a stronger defender, a 6.5 million mid, and it gives you an all right forward. So yeah, I like that.
Out of interest, who do you think is the best 5.5 mid? If you can rotate them some games.
I think it has to be between Minte and Smith Rowe.
Okay. I personally am not sure about Minte because they've just signed another right winger and new to the league. I don't like new players that are new to the league.
But Smith Rowe's barely played like 400 minutes of football, right? I don't think there's much between them.
That's
Over
fair.
like the past 1 or 2 years, he's not played much at all, right?
And there are some
Fixtures there for
fitness
Fulham.
concerns as well.
I
with
like
him.
Smith Rowe. I mean, I like Smith Rowe as a pick. I'm not beating him down. I like Smith Rowe, but I think it's a close call between him and Minte. I really expect Brighton to do well this season. I mean, they have a good squad, and the manager, I rate him highly. I think they will score a fair few goals. It's just that the expected minutes are up in the air for the attacking options. I really hope that João Pedro was an option, man. I mean,
He'll be one. He'll
I
be
may still
one.
go for him.
But then they've just signed
Ruta.
They've just signed what's his name? Ruta? Is that from Leeds? Ruta?
Yeah.
I think it's Ruta.
I mean, it's
40 mil.
It's sort of difficult. Yeah, it's sort of difficult to say because I mean, some Brighton fans think and they believe very strongly actually that João Pedro is definitely in their strongest 11.
Yeah.
And they think that Welbeck will probably be phased out and will be the new guy coming in as a number 10 with Pedro moving to 9. That's the common consensus. But again, right, it's not ideal because we may have a few early substitutions, which again are never ideal for FPL.
Yeah. Barbecue Mafia, great name, asks, why is no one talking about Man City defenders and mid? Well, I think to be fair, Cavadio is a very good option. Outside of that, we're not really sure on minutes. And then the midfielders, we don't. Foden's not going to play, and we're not sure about really any of the other ones, right?
I mean, Guardiola is still close to what 35-40% owned.
Yeah.
I think he's very popular.
Yeah.
Right. So he's really popular. It's just the expected minutes with City. We don't know who will play, which is why. And I think Bob would have been really, really popular had he not been injured.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't quite realize how good of a preseason he'd had and how likely he was to play at least the first couple of games. But yeah, from hearing what people are saying now after the fact that obviously he's had that bad injury, it's tough.
Yeah.
Very, very tough. Okay. Akash says, any thoughts on Fabio Carvalho as a 5 million mid?
I think if I'm picking a 5 million pick, I would rather go with Rodgers from Villa. I think he's probably the safest option now that that Bob isn't there, and he will play the first 4 or 5 fixtures. He's expected to play.
Yep. Okay. Abby is back. Another question: Haaland, Rodgers, Gordon, Porro, or Salah, JP. Who is JP?
João
Pedro, Saka, and Munoz.
Yeah, again, I mean, the main question basically that he's trying to ask is Haaland or Salah, right? Because that's the main difference. And at the cost of repeating myself, I said this in a previous stream. If I didn't have Haaland in Game Week 2, I would be spending my Game Week 2 in a forest with no internet and no phone signals.
Right? You should just do that anyway and film it. It'd be quite funny. I
think
believe in
that
you.
answers your question.
Yeah, okay.
I think that answers your question, but I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. Salah drafts are very, very strong. I think they're actually more strong than Haaland.
Oh, you
On
got
paper.
do it then. You got
So,
to do it. You can't just say these things, Bakar. You got to do it.
yeah, stop. Stop sort of leading me into it. You're just
I'm
throwing.
just saying what you just said. You know.
Yeah, I won't take the bait. Don't worry. Anyway, it's just the risk reward that you have to manage, right? I think it's a bit too risky, but the rewards could be there. I like Salah teams. I've seen a lot of Salah teams. I've encouraged every single person who wants to go with Salah to actually go with them as long as he has the balls to do it and accept the downside. That's the main thing.
Yep. Okay. Thoughts on Zinchenko? Just need him for game week 1 and 3. I actually don't hate it, but you can't say for sure that Calafiori is not going to come in game week 3 and start.
Exactly.
So
yeah, it's very difficult to say. Yeah, if it was a free hit, maybe, but game week 3 is a stretch.
Gordon, Eze, Solanke, Jota. Pick 3, please. Gordon number 1 by a mile.
Eze.
Gordon number 1 by a mile, and then just the other 3 you can choose whatever.
Gordon, Eze, Solanke, Jota. That's the question, right?
Yeah, that's tough.
Oh, that's really tough. I think all 4 of them are good viable options.
Go all 4. I'd go all 4 if I could. I just can't afford Solanke.
I think Eze, Gordon, and one of Solanke, Jota.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair. Thoughts on Lewis Hall? This is a good question. He's not been in my team at all, but a lot of Newcastle fans are very, very confident that he is going to nail down that left back position, even if Gay signs and then Burn could potentially compete. They just think that he is now, much. To be fair, he is a better footballer. It's just whether Eddie Howe goes with him and gives him a run in the side. The fixtures are very good. The first 3 are pretty decent.
No. I'll stop you there, Jack. I don't think the fixtures are good.
You don't think so? First 3?
Defensive point of view, no. I think the first fixture is good for a clean sheet, but after that, I don't see many clean
Bournemouth
sheets.
away, no Solanke.
Bournemouth at home generally tend to score, and Newcastle, their defense has not been that great this calendar year. They've been very, very leaky. They've conceded goals to promoted sides. In the previous season, Sheffield United scored 3 or 4 past them. I'm not saying they won't improve, but my point is that against teams like Bournemouth, for example, or Wolves, which they have coming up, or Fulham for that matter, when you look at their fixture schedule, I think they will score. In fact, I'm confident they will score against Newcastle.
Okay, next question. Salah, Son, 4.5 million striker, or Haaland, Jota, and Winks. It's a similar sort of. That is just Salah or Haaland. I think that's what it comes down to, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've just answered it. Please move on to the next one.
Obviously, Son is a better pick than Jota, but yeah, I think that's who you prefer, Haaland or Salah.
I just like to mention one thing, and it's a common. It's something which I've seen in a lot of teams. A lot of people seem to be picking one of Salah or Haaland, but then they're picking and spreading the funds in the rest of the team. I think it's very important to have at least one premium midfielder. So I'm beginning with Saka. I'm starting with him. But let's say if someone does not have Saka, it's important to have, let's say, a Palmer or Son, or even Salah for that matter, because it then allows you to pivot to the midfielder of choice, because there's so many appealing forwards at that price. I haven't even mentioned De Bruyne and Foden yet. You will want to swap back and forth. So it's very important to have that 10 million slot, 10 million slot, not 2, but a 10.5 million slot in the team.
Yeah, that's fair. Is Gordon nailed to start against Southampton? I'm going to answer this and say no, he's not 100% nailed, because he might not. But he's still in my team. I very much expect him to start. I'd say he's 90% likely to start, but Harvey Barnes has played a lot of minutes in pre-season, so I don't think anyone could 100% say that he's nailed. Genuinely. I'd still expect him to, though.
Yeah, nailed is quite a strong word to say. I don't think he's nailed to start, but I would expect him to start.
If he wasn't in the team, I would be very surprised, but I couldn't say, oh my God, I'm so shocked. Whereas if Bruno Fernandes wasn't in the team, I would be unbelievably shocked. So that is the difference between a nailed player and a player that you'd expect to start, but can't honestly say that he's nailed, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Salah, Garnacho, and Kunku, or Palmer, Saka, and Smith Rowe. Similar. Let's talk actually about Garnacho as an option. Do you like him?
I don't hate him. I like him. I think I actually forgot to mention, if Eze is going, he's actually a good replacement.
How much even is
Let's say
Garnacho? I haven't even
6.5. 6.5.
6.5.
He's a good pick. I forgot to mention him because we were so sort of fixated on the 5.5 million mids and the 7.5 million mids. I think he's a good pick at 6.5 million. It's just that obviously a lot of people already hate the idea of owning Bruno. So I mean, I can only imagine some of the comments if some managers end up picking Bruno and Garnacho. So it's not going to go down well with the audience. But I like Garnacho as a pick. I think he should play. The fixtures are all right as well. They're not amazing, but they're not bad.
Just comparing Eze and Garnacho on Fantasy Football Hub, Eze just destroys him in every single, apart from assists. But yeah, he just expects this as he's still miles ahead, even though the assists themselves are lower. But
this is a good point, because this is exactly why people are picking Eze despite the uncertainty, because he's just so clear of the rest of the pack.
Yeah,
you just answered it beautifully.
Give me another. Give me a name that you would think on paper is better than Eze, but when you actually look at the stats, isn't as good or is similar, that you'd be like, oh, that's very surprising. Have you got a name for me that I can just compare? I'm just loving this comparison tool right now, just showing how good Eze is, to be honest. Maybe like
I would struggle to come up with. I would struggle to come up with a name. I think the closest thing that might come to him is Bruno Fernandes.
Wow,
he's expensive.
Let's see.
Expensive, and I think Eze would actually have better stats than Bruno, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I mean, yeah. Their stats are extremely similar, but yeah, Eze has higher expected points and got more points last year per start.
There you go.
That's pretty crazy. So Bruno more of a creator, but Eze scored a lot more goals actually.
And both are similar, right? Both are similar in terms of what they bring to the table as FPL assets, right? Penalty taking options, relative talisman for their team. And Bruno's like 1.5 million more expensive.
I mean, just looking at this just shows that, yeah, if we don't hear anything concrete on Eze, he's got to be in, doesn't he? Guys, if
he's locked in yours, Jack.
Yeah, Eze's locked in.
I want to talk about you as well, about your team. I mean, you touched upon mine. Let's discuss yours. I mean, it may help me, take some ideas, bounce of some clues regarding my own team. Yeah, I'm just gonna have a good, let's say, coffee after the stream. Relax for like 10-15 minutes, unwind, and then spend the rest of the hour tinkering with my team, because I haven't really given it as much thought as I think I should.
Yeah, guys, we don't have too much longer left, so don't send any more super chats. We will get through all the super chats. There are just a couple more, but yeah, don't send any more, please, because we won't have time to get to them. But yeah, I'll go through my team quickly, and then you can sort of judge it. It's a little riskier than yours, but it has changed a bit from the last time we spoke, especially in defense. I uploaded a video earlier on the channel as well, guys. So after this, if you want to see my team, me going through my thoughts in a bit more depth, then go over there and watch that on Fantasy Football Hub. It's Henderson in goal. For the reasons you said, I'm looking at a Gameweek 6 wildcard. And I think that, yeah, Palace's fixtures are much better than Brentford's in the short term. And then it's I think I've got Valdemarson in there, just actually based on what you said in terms of Flecken isn't the best keeper, and although it could be Bentley if Jose Sarr goes, that he's not going to be in the team long term. They'd just sign someone else.
Yeah, they're going to sign a keeper.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
Going to sign a keeper for sure.
Then this is where it's changed the most. It's Trent, Porro, who weren't in there before. So I've pretty much changed from Gvardiol and Gabriel to Trent and Porro.
That is big news.
I know, man.
I'm not going to let you get away with it, because we were having this discussion since FPL launched, and you were slating me for having Trent and Porro.
Yeah.
I mean, you should go back and watch the previous video where you were slating Liverpool.
No, that's been deleted, sadly. It's been deleted.
Exactly. And you finally come around to them.
Well, the problem is
very similar teams, man.
I'm
very likely to go Henderson myself. I think we can end up with a similar defense.
Yeah, you'll probably just copy me again. But what happened was I was pretty set on a Game Week 4 wildcard, and I thought I could get away with not having Trent for the first 3. But now I just don't think that's very likely, and I think that it's going to be very hard to get him in for 4 and 5. So I think I've just got to start with him. Porro is cheaper, so he's a bit of an enabler. I know he's still 5.5, but he's a bit of an enabler still. Then I've gone Robinson as well as a 4.5. This position could still change, but he's like the sort of like the flex
This is
position.
where we're different. I personally have no interest in the Fulham defense. I don't
Yeah, that's
rate them
fair.
very highly. I know Robinson is very attacking, but I would rather just go with what I think would be the case that Konza will probably play for Liverpool. I just think he's in a different league uh, when it comes to what he can bring to the table.
I'm not 100% sure on his minutes, just from chatting to one of my good mates who is a Liverpool fan. That's the only thing. So, yeah, he was surprised that people were suddenly saying that he was nailed. He expects Kanate and
He's not
Kwanzaa
nailed.
to rotate. Well, he was surprised that everyone was like, okay, he's going to play consistently. He thought that it would be more of a rotation in that spot. But who knows? I mean, he could easily just play his way into the team. Yeah, man, it wouldn't really surprise me. And then in midfield, it's Winks as well. And then I've got Eze and Saka. And then I've got Jota and Gordon instead of your Nkunku and Bruno. That's the difference. And I'm set on that. Those are going to be him. I'm happy to take the risk on Jota. One of those is going to come down to Nkunku, I think, when Chelsea click. If they do, which I hope they do. I say wearing this top. But I think they are avoidable for at least the first two fixtures. I don't see much City at home, Wolves away for the attack, to be honest with you. And I do think it might take a bit of time. And then up top, Haaland, Isak, and then Munoz. I don't like Armstrong as a pick. And Munoz, I know he struggled at the back end of last season, but I do think the fixtures are obviously very, very good from game week 2 to 5. And even United away is not the worst to start the season. So I'm happy with that. So that's the team. No Salah, but yeah, as you said, a plan to get Salah in for game week 4 would be Saka out. What do you reckon?
Yeah. I can't fault it as such. It's a good team. It's a template team. It's
whoa. Hang on. Don't call me that.
Of course not. I mean, it's the truth. What's wrong with me saying it?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Isak to a cheap 5.5 million forward, Saka to Salah, I think will likely be the plan game week 4.
Yeah. Who's the cheap forward though? Is it João Pedro? Who's the forward? That's what I couldn't quite work out when planning. I was clicking through, getting to 4. Saka goes to Salah. Who is it?
Yeah. It's actually good that you can have the best of both worlds in this case. So for example, with Munoz, you can enjoy the opening 3 fixtures that he has, opening 5 fixtures actually, not just 3, opening 5. At the same time, by game week 4, you would have had a reasonable idea about João Pedro's expected minutes.
Yeah.
You would have had a fair assessment on, where he's playing, what his role is, what his minutes are like. And Brighton are playing Ipswich at home, Nottingham Forest at home, game week 4 and 5.
Yeah.
That switch from Isak is ideal, right?
Yeah.
And then you can swap Salah out. Saka out. Saka is playing City and Spurs in 4 and 5, which are obviously tough fixtures. That move is those two transfers sort of pick themselves.
I didn't quite realize the fixtures were that good for Brighton actually from 4. Yeah, fair enough.
Brighton as well, and worst case scenario, even if João Pedro is not an option, you can even look at Armstrong because his fixtures are strong in 4 and 5 as well. Right. So I mean, I'm confident that at least one of the two will be viable at that point. Right. So that's one thing sorted. I like your team. I mean, I can't really fault it. I just think Jota and Gordon are, let's say, they're slightly more riskier than the two that I have. I have Bruno and Nkunku, but it's a perfectly viable team, and I wish you all the best. I may end up with the same forward line. I think that's the big question for me. I'm still sort of contemplating whether to add extra depth in the form of Dunk. Okay, I'll explain my thought process. Because I have Kwanzaa, ideally I want to have that extra bench depth with Dunk over Barco.
Yeah.
But for that, I'll have to have Armstrong or João Pedro, and that isn't ideal for the first 3. So this is what I'm trying to sort of weigh up, and hopefully I can get the decision right before the deadline.
Shall we quickly do some recommended transfers for my team just to see what it's saying? Let's not do these moves actually. Let's just go back and see quickly just what it's saying. We're going to end things very, very soon. Just got a couple of quick super chats, couple quick super chats, but just very quickly, just to show the people what is so good about Fantasy Football Hub. Guys, if you haven't signed up yet, I know I've said it already, but do it now. You've got 3 hours till deadline. If you're not sure on your team, as you've seen in this stream, this is the problem with the recommended transfers. The recommendations are too good. Gvardio and Gabriel are recommended to come back in. It's just so annoying because they've been in my team all pre-season, as I said in the video earlier. It's just so annoying. That's going to come down to literally to the deadline for me, I think. The defense.
Do you see yourself making any changes realistically?
No. But if there were to be changes, it would be. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, that's my team. If you want to get your own AI recommended transfers, go and do it, my friends. Right, let's round things up. Last couple of super chats because I don't want to not answer any of these. Okay, let's get through these quickly. Where were we? Okay. Best 4.5 defender options.
I think we've addressed this.
Is Martinez up there from United?
I don't think so. I think I like the Liverpool Konza. I like both the Konzas. Liverpool's one is slightly riskier.
Yeah.
The Aston Villa one is good. I'm personally not a huge fan of Mikalenko Robinson. I think both those teams will concede early on in the season. And who else? I like Dunk. Yeah, I like Dunk.
Yeah, sure thing. Okay, going away from Eze with the rumours. Palace is weaker this season. No Mateta early on. So go up to a 7.5 mid or down to a 6.5 mid if we do get Eze news. What do you think's better there?
It depends on the upgrade that the downgrade allows, right? It depends on what that allows. It's very difficult for me to sort of say without looking at the exact team what it would allow. But I would presume that I would probably prefer a downgrade rather than an upgrade in structure.
Yeah, I know you've listed players there, Boom, but need to see the whole team really to give actual solid advice there. Eze and have Winks on the bench or a 6.5 million mid with Smith Rowe as an option. If so, who is the best 6.5 million mid? Similar.
I think 6.5 million. If not in Nkunku, then you can go Garnacho. I think he's going to be the second one that I like. The rotating part depends on, let's say, if you have a forward like Armstrong or Pedro, then you might need an enabler to sort of rotate him with. But if not, then you don't necessarily need the enabler for rotation. Okay, 3 more to get through. Can you compare Jota v Gordon? I can. They're both amazing. Get them in your team. They're both in mine. I think that Gordon's safer. Jota could be more explosive. But Gameweek 1, I think, is much for a muchness. I think Gordon's going to do really well.
Agree. Completely agree.
Next question. Have a Salah draft with Sake, Eze, Palmer, JP, Isak, Muniz. Thoughts on Palmer to Nkunku to upgrade Kwanzaa to Trent or to upgrade Joao Pedro to Solanke? Yeah, I think you've got to do that. I think so. I think Palmer down to Nkunku anyway, so to use that money. I mean, Trent is so much better than Kwanzaa.
The only thing I'd sort of mention is that make sure that you have a 10 million made in the structure.
Yeah.
I hope he has Saka if he's doing that transfer with Palmer.
Oh, that's a good point actually. Might not. Yeah.
But if he doesn't, then I don't like the move because the structure is very important.
And then final question, which is very apt, I think, for you, Bakar. Adam Armstrong is my differential. Good choice.
He may be my differential in 3 hours. He may not be my differential in 3 hours. He's a good pick, I think. I still think he's going to start. I'd expect him to play, let's say, close up 70, 75 minutes in every fixture. And he could still do well because the fixtures are all right. I mean, if you have him, he's not necessarily someone who must be sold.
Okay. That's going to do it. Guys, thank you very much for watching this. Currently got over 2,000 viewers. Pretty insane. Maybe we should do this more often.
Thank you very much, guys.
What do you think, Bakar? We should do this more often, perhaps. It's been good fun.
I've been a very strong advocate, Jack. You're the one who has who
Whoa, to take time don't rat me out, man.
You're YouTube royalty,
what the hell?
YouTube royalty.
Okay. Royalty. Well, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Wow, hang on. That's not true. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more streams coming up in the future. If not, then at least there are going to be a lot of videos coming up over the next few weeks. From people like Bakar, other I don't want to say FPL experts, but people that know what they're doing and consistently rank well. So last thing, as I've said multiple times, this is the last chance to sign up to Fantasy Football Hub and make sure you get 50% off. If you don't do it now, you're going to regret it next week when you want to know your AI recommended transfers. You want to see all the stats, what's recommended to you, the players to get, predictive points, etc. So make sure you do it. Thank you very much for watching. Bakar is going to post his final team reveal very, very soon over on the website as well. That's another bonus of signing up. But yeah, Bakar, thank you, mate. And I'm going to try and end this live stream
Good luck.
the best way I can. But who knows? It might continue forever. Okay. Bye, guys.